Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am your host, Christine Blosdale, the media coach for busy business rock stars like yourself. And today I am bringing you a queen. Yes, you could thank me later. She's going to be your new BFF, as she is mine. I've got such an incredible guest today who is going to help us get out of this panicky, scarcity mindset when it comes to money and profitability, and how we can take our business and scale it up to ways that we never even thought were possible. And so without further ado, I want to bring on Deberah Bringelson, who is an international profit-producing authority. You're going to find out just how amazing she is and why I wanted to bring her to your attention, because, I always share, if something's working for me, if something resonates with me, if I get those Blosdale goosebumps, then I know it's important for me to share that with the world. So I'm super happy to have you joining us. Deberah, welcome to Out of the Box with Christine.
Thank you, Christine. I am thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I met you recently and I just connected with you. And I said, I have to learn more about what it is that you do. But more importantly, I wanted to give you a platform so that you could inspire others to get out of that, like I said, the scarcity mindset. And let's call the elephant in the room. Right now, the markets are acting quite odd. Banks are closing in the US, banks are closing in the UK, banks are closing, and people are panicking. And I wanted to first address that and then get into how we can, as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, service providers, how we can increase our profitability and not necessarily have to work harder, but maybe smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think the first thing that it's important for everyone to remember is you create your own reality. So whatever is happening in your world, you're creating it. And, a lot of people go, wait a minute, I didn't create this. I didn't want that to happen. Well, yeah, you did. But you know what? That's really great news, because if you created something that you don't want, you have the power to change and uncreate it. So whatever's happening in the markets, you can choose not to participate. You can make a choice. And I'd love to tell you exactly how to do that if you're up for it.
Of course we are. Of course we are.
Okay. So you choose, obviously you choose by saying, well, I'm going to make a different choice, but you actually choose energetically. You choose with the energy that's in your body. And when you're feeling something like fear, like, oh, the markets are going crazy and the banks are closing and oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And you get that fear going. What happens is these little filaments of energy, think of them as energetic spider webs, go out into the world and they connect with things that are similar to what you're feeling. So if you're feeling fear, the universe says, oh, they want more of that. So let me give them more things to be fearful of. And if you're feeling joy or fun, then the universe says, oh, okay, let me give them more of that. So we want to be mindful of what we're feeling in our body. And a lot of people will say to me, well, if I'm feeling fear, I can't just immediately shut it off. Well, actually, yes, you can. And one of the things to remember is you cannot hold a positive and a negative in your body at the same time. It's not possible for you to do that. So let's say you're feeling fear. Well, Christine, for you, what would be the opposite of fear?
Oh, absolute faith, blind faith.
Faith. Okay. Can you feel the energy of faith?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing that you do is you ask yourself, what's the opposite of that? I'm feeling fear. And if you can't figure out the opposite, like, and some people can't, they're like, well, I don't know what the opposite is. And it has to be a feeling. Go to joy. Joy is high on the frequency scale. And if you're feeling something, it's a highly technical term, but I call it yucky. If you're feeling yucky, then just go to joy. And you stop yourself, and everybody do it with me right now. You stop yourself and you call in the frequency of joy. And if you can't call it in, like, what does she mean, call it in? Just remember a time that was really joyful for you. For me, it would be like when my daughter was a baby and I would hold her, or running on the beach, or something like that. Feeling that joy. And just right now, can you feel the energy of joy? Can you feel that?
Yep. Yes, I can.
Okay. So if you were feeling fearful before we started this, you were sending out those little filaments of energy to the universe saying, hey, give me more. And now you're sending out little filaments of energy to the universe saying, hey, give me more things to feel joyful about. And you don't have to stop. Like, if, let's say you're in a meeting with someone, you're in a sales conversation and it's not going well, or you're trying to negotiate, you don't have to stop and go, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to call in the energy of joy. You don't have to do that. You can just, in your mind and in your body, feel that while they're talking, let them talk away, and just feel that and bring it in. It will shift the conversation that you're having.
Mm. And it is so important, that conversation that we're having, not just the conversation that that we speak out. Although I believe that the power of the words that we speak out into the universe, that's why they call it spelling. You're casting a spell, right? They're so
Right.
powerful. But also those words, those stories that we have in our head that replay, and it could be something that maybe happened when you were on the playground as a little kid, and it's still with you. I know you're an expert at working with your clients on helping eliminate those blocks that we have. And I would say, yes, we have blocks around money, success, those type of things. Can you talk about what some of the biggest blocks that you've worked with your clients, and where this show is for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs? So maybe some of those blocks that you see most common with people who have their own business.
Probably the number one block that I see is feeling undeserving for some reason, and it's different for everyone. And one of the things that I always do with my clients and teach the students in my classes is to ask, what's under that? So if you're feeling, let's say something isn't going well, like you're not making the money that you want to make, and a lot of times we're like, well, I need to buy this widget, or I need to buy this gadget, or whatever. That's not really it. There's something energetically under it. And I'll give you an example. I was working with a client, and she hadn't made any money for a year, literally $0 for an entire year. And I was working with her. I'm a business consultant in addition to this other stuff that I do. And I was working with her on the business side, and we were doing all of the things that I know work, and they weren't working. And finally I said to her, I actually was kind of coming out of the closet, because I hadn't really talked to anybody about the energetic side of my business. I was using it, but wasn't telling people that I was using it, because I didn't want them to think I was crazy. So finally I said to her, I think you're blocking money, and I would like to work with you to clear that. Would you be up for it? And she said yes. And so we met on a Friday, and I did an exercise with her to get to what's under that for her. And what we discovered is that she came from a wealthy family, and she believed that she didn't do anything to deserve money. She'd never done anything. I don't deserve it because I never done anything to deserve it. And so I said, okay, I think we can clear this out. And I led her through a guided process. It's different than a meditation. It has a specific purpose to it. And I guided her through it, and I cleared that block. Within 8 days, she made $298 million.
Holy moly.
That was the first money she had made in over a year. And by the end of 12 months, she made a total of $602 million.
All from that shift.
All from that shift. Yes.
So these blocks that we have are causing us to leave a lot of money on the table.
Yes, they are. Yes, they absolutely are. And it may be, we were talking a moment ago about the energy that you're emitting out into the world. So let's say you're in a sales situation and you're talking to someone, and in your mind and in your body, you're like, I've got to make the sale. I've got to pay the rent. I've got to feed my kid, or whatever it is. And all that's going on inside of you. But you're smiling and you're saying, well, my product's really good, or my service is really good, so buy it from me. And what happens is that energy is being emitted and they can feel it. And they won't know why they don't trust you, but they won't trust you.
Yes.
And so then you'll lose that sale. So you're recreating things that you don't want to have in your life. So it's really important to get your energy into alignment.
And I'm so happy that you came out of the closet and talking about your because, and I don't market myself as an intuitive coach. Although I use all of my intuitive powers when I'm working with people, because, and I just can't help it, because if someone's talking to me, I'm like, all these ideas come, all these things. I'm like, I have to share them with people, and I don't take responsibility for them. I don't say that, I'm this genius. It's just something that I see as an easier road for them, so to speak. So I understand that. And it is so much. Deberah, we have been kept in the dark about our power.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, for thousands of years, we have, as human beings, been told you have no power. You're born in sin. There's a God that's going to judge you. Money is the root of all evil. Ha ha ha. Right?
And don't forget, you have to work really hard.
You have to work really hard, and work your whole life. And maybe at the end of your working life, we'll give you a watch. Maybe not now, but that fallacy and religion for so many years, centuries, was holding people back. And that is that. I think that is because I believe we've been reincarnated. I believe I've been here so many times. I've been a man, I've been a woman, I've been a man, I've been a woman. Maybe I was a dog. I don't know. Perhaps. I don't think I was a cat. I'm not fond of cats. I'm sorry, all the people that love cats. I know, but anyway. So I know I've been all these things, and I know that we've had our personal power taken away from us. And so this is what I think is so important about the work that you do too, is that you're telling people, look, you have the power within you. You just need to realize it. And you need to be in the driver's seat of your life instead of going to the next guru, and folks love like Tony Robbins, all this stuff, but it's actually something that has to happen within you.
Right. And I would even take it one step farther, and I might offend some people by saying this, but I will tell you, you are source. I tend to use the word source or cosmic consciousness instead of God, but it's all the same thing. That is who you are. You are God. You are source. And is there anything that God cannot do? Is there anything that would conquer God or defeat God? No. And that is you. And that's why I say it's such great news when you really understand that you create your own reality. Because if you don't like the reality that you're looking at, you can make a choice and you can recreate exactly what you want. You have the power to do that. And I have worked with, I've been doing this work silently for, probably 30 years, but really publicly, I became public about it in about 2012. And I've been working with thousands of people all over the world. And I've got people who've healed themselves from cancer, from leukemia, who've made, hundreds of millions of dollars. I've used it to close deals. I used it to close a deal with Richard Branson worth more than $300 million in annual returns. So I know that you can do it too. Every single person who's listening, I know you can do it.
And again, so for the people who are listening on your preferred podcast plus platform or watching this on YouTube, the first thing that comes up is, yeah, you deserve it, Deborah. But there's that little voice inside saying, but I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Who am I to make an incredible living? Who am I to have really a healthy body and mind? Who am I? Who am I? How do you, because that's a tough one. That's almost embedded in, not in our DNA, because I believe that that's just been inserted there. But how do you overcome that with people that have it be so embedded in them that even though on the outside they're saying, of course I want to be successful, of course I want to have great relationships, of course, but then the subconscious mind is, you don't deserve that.
Well, I started there too. I grew up in a very traumatic, very violent, abusive home. I was just about anything that you could experience, I experienced it. And when I was in high school, I was very depressed. I didn't want to stick around. I was like, if this is what life is, I am not going to stick around for another 60, 70 years, whatever. And I'm part Native American, so I've always been somewhat attracted to that shamanic spirituality. And someone, not because they thought I needed help, because I was very good at hiding it and pretending that everything was perfect when it wasn't. They took me to see my first teacher, my first guru, kind of as a lark. And I got a little hint, okay, there's something different than what I'm experiencing. And I dove into it and I started learning. And I think the way that it happened for me is I started having little successes. Like, oh, wow, I changed that. I had a success here. Things are getting better. Eventually I escaped from the abuse and moved a couple thousand miles away. And that's what I do with my clients and my students is, a lot of them don't have that huge dramatic, okay, 8 days later, I made $298 million. Actually, many of them do, but they start getting those little successes. They start losing, like I have one client who wanted to lose weight and she's not doing anything. She's not dieting. She's not over exercising. She's not doing anything. She's like, she'll come to class and she'll go, I lost another couple of pounds and I don't know why this is happening. And they start having those successes. And then I was like, okay, I do deserve something better and I can do it. And the more they have the little successes, it's kind of like a little kid. They take the first step and then they fall down, but then they take a couple of steps and they're like, oh yeah, I can do this, right? And they keep going and they keep going. And that's how this works.
Oh yes. I've realized that as well in my own life. It's like having that little magic wand, that little Harry Potter kind of wand where you test it out and you do have those little successes and you go, oh my gosh, I'm really in charge here. Like I can create this. Let me see what else I can create. And it's a constant, right? It's a mastering it's a skill set that you tend to need to master or at least practice every day and practice in small ways. I talk to my clients because this is something that's really important. Those baby steps that we take in branding and marketing and all that great stuff. But it's like the same thing when you go to the store, you go into the mall, or you're going, to the big shopping center, and everybody's out there. Everybody's shopping the same day. And you have that parking karma where you go, you know what? I'm going to create a parking spot for me close to the entrance because I don't want to walk, whatever. I'm going to create that. And when you do that. And I don't know really how it happens, but it's the universe, God, source, you all coming together. And I do that as a little practice. It's like my little magician practice game is even just creating a parking spot. And the next thing is I'm going to meet someone today in my travels or in my meetings on Zoom. I'm going to meet someone today who's going to have a key that is going to help unlock something within me that's going to make me even better.
Mhm.
That's going to make my business better. That's going to improve on something within me. Today is going to happen. And maybe it might be more than one person, but at least one person is going to do that. And it's
Mhm.
such a different result.
Mhm.
It's instead of saying, oh, it's Monday, I got to get up, I got to do this, right? It's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can do what you do with the parking spaces, you can do it with money too. One of the things that I love to do is say, hey, give me some unexpected money today. And things will happen. And sometimes it's a little, and sometimes it's a lot. One day I got a notification from my bank that $1,500 had been deposited. Totally unexpected. I'm like, where did that come from? And then sometimes it's, $5. It doesn't matter. You celebrate it though. And again, you're sending out those little filaments of energy saying, oh yeah, she likes that. I have to send her more of
Yes,
that.
I do like that. I like that too. A little extra money coming in. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Many years ago too, I practiced something. I was living in an area in Los Angeles that I did not like. It was crime ridden. Helicopters would be coming over, in the middle of the night with their lights, and we had bars on the wall, on the windows, and I woke up to the smell of exhaust all the time because it was in the valley, and I just was like, I'm miserable here. I can't, and I'm a water baby. I have 5 planets in Scorpio, so I am water, 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 ocean, swimming, all of that. And I remember a friend of mine saying, "Oh, you should, get out of Los Angeles. Just come and spend the day up here in Ventura, which is about an hour north of Los Angeles, and it's this little beautiful beach town that if you blink, you miss it, and you're on your way to Santa Barbara. But it's just this gorgeous little space." And she goes, "Why don't you just come up and just come to the beach and just chill for the day and get away from that?" And I did, and when you get that feeling and you go, oh, I'm supposed to be here.
Mhm.
Like, that's like how I felt when I was in Maui, because I know I'm going to end up in Maui with my wife. I know it may take a few years. That's okay. We don't really want to go right now. We want to have that later. But I was like, that feeling like, oh, I felt those goosebumps. And so what I did is, instead of going back to LA and saying, "Oh, I wish we could be there. I wish I could live there. I'm stuck here, blah blah blah." I started going every couple days. I'd go to Ventura and I would walk into the local Starbucks. I would walk into the local Vaughn's store, the grocery store, the dry cleaner that's there in that little community, and I pretended as if I already lived there. So I would walk in, I go, "This is my Starbucks. Oh my gosh, this is so great. This is my local Starbucks." I walked into the grocery store and said, "This is my store. This is my store. I love being here." And within literally within now I did take action. I did I took action, and I called the local real estate places and said, "Is there if you have any openings or anything like that?" First one said, "No, nothing yet, but we'll give you a call." The second one was, "Look, I shouldn't even show this to you. It's not listed. They just moved out, but for some reason, I feel like I need to show this to you." And I was like, "Yes, I'll be right there." And so I go, and we're walking down a little lane, and we're walking closer and closer to the beach. And I'm like, where are we going? Like, we're walking very close to the ocean front. And I said, And they said, a little bit longer, a little bit longer. 3 houses from the ocean is this duplex. Now he opens it up, and boy, it's crazy. It's a mess because they had just left. They painted one room red, and the windows were boarded up and everything like that. The carpet was disgusting. But I just said, this is it. This is it. I'm steps from the sand. I could go running on the beach. I'll be at the ocean. And it was it was perfect. It was in my budget. Everything worked out. But that's because I already knew with all of my heart that that's where I was going to be.
Yeah.
Now, if we can take that and apply it to relationships, our health, our business, that's the thing. That's what I want to do. That's why I'm going to be I'm going to be following you, Deborah. I'm going to be whatever little crumbs you want to leave my way. I will pick them up and nibble.
Well, you know what? I have actually something that I'll give you. I'll give everyone listening.
Yes.
It tells you exactly how I call it your point of power. And there are 4 points, 4 components to your point of power. And when you get them all going together, it's like an arrow, and you shoot that to your desire, whatever that is, and it pierces it like an arrow does. And it's a really quick training. It's like 11 minutes, and it tells you what it is and how to line it all up. And one of the things that's really important is having your frequency clean. I'll give you a guided process similar to the one that I did with a client that I was talking about a little bit ago, to clear your frequency.
Oh, wow. I love that. I love that. And we're going to get people, I get access to it, and our listeners and viewers will also have access to that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we'll put a link in the show notes so they can click on it directly. We'll make sure that we have a link to your website too, so people can find out more and contact you directly. But we will put that link. And what is the program called? What is it that you're offering? What is it called?
So it's called the Quantum Results Formula. And the training that I have for you, it's specifically about money, because everybody's so concerned with money right now. But literally, I have people who've used it to heal their bodies, to change their relationships or heal their relationships. And I've even used it to lose weight. I lost 60 pounds doing nothing other than the formula. Just went through the little guided process that I have, felt this wave of energy go through my body. It was really weird. And over a couple of months, I lost 60 pounds with no effort.
I am very excited about starting this. I cannot wait. Okay. I am going to block out a little bit of time. It doesn't even take that much time, you said, right?
No.
It's short.
Yeah. So the training is about 11 minutes, I think it is. And then the guided process is about 25 minutes. And one thing I will say, a lot of people say, well, I've tried other things. I've tried the law of attraction and it doesn't work. And the reason is because you have to live it. Like, you've spent, however old you are, you've spent that amount of time living a false reality with all of these limits that you don't have to live with. And so when you do this, you have to change your life. You live it, you become this, and it becomes a new way of living. And that way, that's how things start happening magically.
And it's a little uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable, I would think, changing the way we are, even if we're miserable. It's like you got those shoes on that are too tight, and you're like, all I need to do is take the shoes off, but I'm so used to wearing those shoes, right?
Well, it is uncomfortable. I just real quickly, I was trying to close a deal with Richard Branson a few years ago, and I had been hired to do this deal with him, and he was not interested at all in working with my clients. And he was going to come. I was in the San Francisco Bay Area. He was going to come, and my clients had given me no money. Literally, I had no money. And I had all my competition had hundreds of millions of dollars. And I said, okay, what can I do? I said, He's coming. I'm going to throw a party for him. And I'm going to invite all of the Fortune 100 and 500 CEOs in the Bay Area to come and help me woo him. And I didn't have any ability to do this. I had 7 days. He was going to be there in 7 days. And I said, and talk about uncomfortable, I said, okay, universe, make this happen. Because little Deborah doesn't have, I have no money. I have no place to hold it. And this was having tremendous national attention. It was in all of the newspapers. People were watching this deal very closely. So I had an opportunity for a huge fail. Talk about uncomfortable. And so I had 7 days. The next day I get a call on my cell phone. I never give my cell phone number out to anyone, no one. How this person got my cell phone number, I have no idea. And she said, I hear you want to throw a party for Richard Branson. And I said, yes, I do. And she's, well, how can I help? And I said, well, I don't have a budget. I literally have no money to do this. So I'm kind of looking at paper cups and water, and I have no venue. And she said, well, how about if you have it at my house? Well, her house turned out to be a palatial estate. It wasn't just a house. And then I said, well, that's really great. Thank you. He said, but as I said, I don't have a budget. I can't hire a caterer. I don't know what I would serve. And she said, okay, that's okay. I will hire the caterer and I will host this party for you. I said, well, that's really great. Thank you. But I want to bring in the Fortune 100 and 500 CEOs from the area, and I can get their names. And, but by the time I print invitations and send them out, I don't have their emails because they're very closely
the CEOs
marketed.
on the top right.
Right. And so I said, I don't have any way to reach them. And, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, after it's been on the secretary's desk, he's come and gone. And she said, well, I know Buck. And she said, Buck owns this restaurant and Buck knows all these guys. I will call Buck and see if he will email them and invite them. Keep in mind, I've got 6 days to make all this happen, right? And in one phone call, I've got a place to have it, I've got catering for it, and I've got Buck who's going to email all of them. And what happened was he did that. And 6 days later, Branson shows up. We have this fabulous party. My competition has all of this money they're throwing at him. In California, it wasn't legal. And at the time, we didn't have a governor. And, I was doing this pretty much all on my own, except I had the power of the universe. And I didn't, but Branson wanted a deal. He wanted to know what kind of offer we were going to give him. And what he wanted was money, right? Incentive money. Well, what we did with those Fortune 100 and 500 CEOs, we started putting deals together where he could make more money with those deals than any of my competition could have ever given him.
Oh.
So yes, to answer your question, it does get uncomfortable sometimes. But when you trust it and you allow it and you know that you are the power, you are the source, you can make anything happen. And ultimately, I learned after the deal was closed that he was a hard no. He was not going to do business in California. Hard no. Turn it around, close the deal, $300 million a year annually, every year for the state of California.
Wow. And that lady, that's like an angel.
Yes, absolutely. It was an angel. Yes. And I still don't know how she got my cell phone number.
And I do believe exactly. It's like, how did you get my number? The angels in our lives are, I do believe, because I do believe we are source as well. I think are like split aspects of us that have gone like, hold on, I'll be right back. And just to make sure that this is going to happen for you, because that was a huge there was many miracles happening at the same time for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're sharing this with others, which that's the most beautiful thing. Teach me how to fish. Don't just give me a good meal. Although I would have liked to have been at that party.
It was very cool.
I would have worked that room. I would have worked that room.
Yep.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
okay. So again, I'm going to make sure that we put the link for this incredible program that you're offering to our listeners and to our viewers for absolutely free. We'll put the link in the show notes so that they can start right away. I'm going to do it. And I will listen to you, Deborah. Whatever you say I shall do, I shall do. Okay.
It'll be a fun ride. And the best piece of advice that I can give to you and to everyone else is to just trust that it works, even if it's uncomfortable. I mean, I have been in these situations. I'm always saying yes to things that I don't have a clue how to do. And when you just trust it, it works. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
I promise.
I'm so happy I met you.
Me too.
You're awesome. I like you. And I don't like a lot of people. I'm not a fan of a lot of people. So that says a lot. It does. So thank you so much for being on the show today and just reigniting that power and reminding us again that we have so much power within us. We just sometimes we need to just be reminded of that and shown the way. And you've shown the way to many people throughout your career. And so I'm so happy. And I'm happy to introduce you to my audience as well. So folks, please do check out the work that my guest today, Deberah Bringelson, has done. You can go to her website, DeberahBringelson.com, or you can also go to quantumresultsformula.com, correct?
Yes.
And we will have that link, that special link for that free gift that she is offering you. Very powerful. And know that I will be doing it as the same as you. I will be going through this because listen, it's time. It's time for all of us to be successful. And those of us who pivoted and shifted during the whole COVID pandemic, we know how much power we have. And now what's happening globally, whatever's happening on the global stage, remember, you still have that power. You have so much power. So thank you again, Deborah. Any final words you want to say before we go?
I would just say, and you deserve it. You deserve it. It's not only time, you deserve it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So go get it.
I'm getting it, girl. I'm getting it. Thank you again, Deborah, so much. We'll have links to all of that good stuff that Deborah was talking about in the show notes. I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers on YouTube. If you've not subscribed to the show yet, please do. You can click that subscribe bell or like or follow, whatever you want to do, but make sure that you stay in touch, because we will be updating, having new podcast episodes coming out every so often that are very powerful. And if today's show resonated with you and you think it can help someone, please share it. Share the video or share the podcast episode to someone who you know needs to hear it, who needs to have this in their life. Please share it. And if you want more information about the podcast, you can go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. And if you want more information about me and my coaching, of course, you can go to christineblasdale.com. If you're on YouTube and you've got your little phone, you can actually scan the QR code right there in the corner. Just scan the QR code and it'll take you to my website. All right. Until next time, as I always say, don't forget to think outside that box. Bye for now.